So before we get started, what are we doing today? We're setting up a custom email signature in your Dubsado account so you can add it to your canned emails. So in Dubsado, you actually do have the ability to set up an email signature. And I also want to show you how to get that showing up with your canned emails as well. So we'll cover that. And it does help to be familiar with canned emails and smart fields. We're actually going to be inserting our email signature with a smart field into our canned email templates. So I've provided some links to our help articles there on those topics if you need a refresher. We're not going to cover them in too much detail. We're going to be focused on the email signature. If you saw my post in the Facebook community, I posted a little preview of the email signature we're going to be creating. It's pretty simple, but with a lot of impact. And if you want to create a similar one, you will need an image, either of your logo or maybe a headshot. I'll be using a headshot image. You want to keep your images small to insert in the email. We want to just not be sending our clients huge images in their emails as part of our email signature. We don't want to overload, them with having to download all of that data. So it would be best to keep that image small. 300 pixels is not a hard cutoff. It's just kind of a suggestion for you if you're thinking, how small do I make this? You want to keep it pretty small in size. And, we're also going to look at linking in some social media icons as well to link to your profiles on those different sites. So you'll want to have some images created representing those different social media outlets. You'll see more what I mean. These are things that you'll have to supply yourself. They're not going to be built into Dubsado for you. All right, so let's jump over into our Dubsado account here. Let me make this a little bit bigger, not quite that big. So we are under templates and canned emails. This is where you edit your email signature. So it's under templates and canned emails. And right up here at the top, we have a button that says signature. This is where you edit that signature. So if I click on that, a little pop-up modal appears. You may have noticed if you have a new Dubsado account or you haven't edited your email signature before, you may have noticed that when you send an email, it automatically says thank you at the bottom. That is the default signature that comes with the Dubsado account. So if you've been wondering where to edit that, here we are. It is part of the email signature. You could, of course, write in whatever you would like here. We're going to go into some more detail creating a signature with some images and links, but ultimately the signature can be as simple as you want it to be. Maybe it's just a greeting that you want to put at the bottom of your emails. I like always celebrate the little victories. Oops. Always celebrate the little victories, and that could be it. And then with your name, and that could be your email signature if you want to keep things just very simple. One of the things with email signatures in particular, it's not quite like designing a form in Dubsado where you have lots of options when it comes to, fonts and images and layouts and all of that. We want to keep it pretty simple. And the reason for that is how your signature looks to your client when you send them an email. It actually is pretty much entirely dependent on what email client your client is using to read your email. And an email client is just the application that you would use to send and receive emails. So that could be Gmail. It could be Apple Mail on a desktop computer, Outlook. It's really that application that you're using to view the emails. And each email client, not to be confused with your client who you're sending the email to, the email client, each one kind of has their own parameters on what they will display when it comes to, custom text and how they handle images, and how they even handle HTML if you put in, some custom code into your email signature. So you do have to be mindful that the more complex you make the signature, the more you run the risk of your clients not all seeing it the same way. And in my mind, it's better to keep it simple and have kind of full control over what your clients are seeing, to be, pretty confident that what you're sending out looks the same to all of your clients, than to get really focused on got to have the exact branding, got to have the exact font. But then for some clients, they won't see that font or they won't see the image the right way. So it's best to keep things simple here. So if you want to keep it really simple, you can leave it just at the text and work with the text formatting options we have here. This is very similar to editing the actual content of a canned email. It's about the same options. So if you click on that A for the formatting options in the toolbar, we have our text selected. I can go ahead and make my name bold if I want to. We have other options here. We do have colors. So if you want to change the color of your name, you can do that as well, or any other text really. To remove that color, you can come back into the colors menu and click the little eraser icon that will take away the formatting. And this is pretty similar throughout the rest of Dubsado when you're editing text, either in forms or emails. We do have some font options here, so you can change up the font if you want. Just note that, there is kind of a default here that goes out with all of your emails. So if you want to keep that the same, you can just leave it. Or if you've chosen a different font in your canned emails, maybe you can, choose it to match here as well in your signature. So that's up to you. I like the default, so we'll leave that. But size, so you can make all of those changes there. So let's make things a little bit more interesting. We can look at adding an image now. So maybe I want to add a headshot to make this a little bit more personal to my clients so they know what I look like. So to insert an image into the text of our email signature, we will click on the formatting options again in the toolbar. And over on the right-hand side, there's this option here that looks like a little picture for insert image. So I'll click on that. And this will bring up a option to upload an image. So if you have that image on your computer, you can go ahead and choose that. We also have some other options here, like adding an image by URL. This is going to be the easiest. If you just have that file on your computer, you can click and the file browser will come up. I don't think you can actually see this as part of the screen share. I don't think it shows up, but I have a file browser here letting me choose which image I want to add. And I've already created a sort of profile image, like something you'd put on LinkedIn here. And it's a pretty small image. So I've made it nice and small. It's 210 kilobytes in size. File size. So it's nice and light to send. Oh, this isn't my circle one. So this one is like a square image, and any kind of adjustments you want to make to how the image looks, you'll want to do outside of Dubsado and bring in that file as is. So I'm going to insert again. Let me pick the right one. Here it is. So I made a version that's even smaller. This one is 34 kilobytes in file size. And we'll open that up. So it looks a little blurry and pixelated. It'll come in looking a little large. But then we can click and drag on the corners here to resize it. So I've made this to look good at just under 100 pixels. So we can kind of size that around, and it'll size proportionately, dragging on the corner there. So that looks pretty good, maybe a little smaller. And it'll be right in line with the text. So I could make it right in line like that, or I could come down on a new line for my name there. So I kind of like how that looks. That's just inserting the image. So what I did outside of Dubsado is just grab an image of myself and then crop it into a circle. You could do that with Canva or any other image editing application. You could also do this with your logo. So you could put your logo in here instead if you want. It's really up to you what you want to include in your email signature and how you want it to look. Let's add a little more text here. I'll put in my my title here at Dubsado. And I want to make this text look a little bit different because, that way it's not going to compete with my name. We want to just give the text a little bit of hierarchy visually. So under formatting options again, I will take away the bold, italicize, and then I think I want to change the color, make it a little bit lighter with a lighter gray. You can enter a hex color here. So if you do have brand colors, this is a good place to incorporate them, or you can choose one of the options. That looks good. And maybe we can make this text a little bit smaller as well. So this is where, just kind of adjusting the color of the text, adjusting the size. This is where you can get a little bit better visual hierarchy in your email signature. So that's starting to look a little bit nicer there. All right, let's add some social media images. And of course, you can just, start putting in some of your own contact information here as well. So I could just write the word Facebook. If I wanted to, link, say, find me on Facebook. And we could change this up to have an underline and maybe be a blue color for a link, highlighting the text, and then going to the formatting options to hyperlink some text. We can click on the insert link icon, and that will let us make this text clickable. So when your client gets the email, they could click on this to go to your Facebook URL. So when you click on that, you'll have this box come up here. It's looking a little cut off because I blew up the size of the screen. But you would paste in the URL maybe to your Facebook group or your Facebook business page so folks can find you there. I'll just put in a placeholder for now of a hash symbol, and you can insert that. And at any time, if you need to edit that link, you can just click on the linked text and click on the edit link icon, and you'll be able to update that URL. So if I don't have the URL on hand, I can leave it and come back later and paste it in. You can also open the link to test to make sure it works, or unlink it if you've made a mistake. So that's inserting a link for text. So maybe you just want to do some text-based social media links. You can certainly do that. You can add a few that way. Alternatively, we can go back to our formatting options and choose to insert an image. So this time, let me grab an Instagram icon. And again, it'll come in pretty big, and you can resize it with the corners. So we'll make this smaller than my headshot. We don't want to make it too small so that our clients can still tap on it if they're on a mobile device, but that should do the trick. With the image still selected, you can then actually click on the insert link icon, so we can actually link images themselves to websites as well. So all I'll do here is just paste in my link to my Instagram profile. And then when a user or when a client clicks on that icon in my email, it will take them to my Instagram profile. And you could even check open a new tab to make sure that when they click on that link, it's opening in its own tab on their browser. Again, just the placeholder for now. I don't have all these links set up here. And then just click update, and then that becomes a clickable image for your clients. And this is something that you can do in a regular canned email as well. we get lots of questions about embedding videos in emails and how to handle that. So you can't embed a video in an email. That just doesn't work. But what you can do is you can take an image of your video, maybe a screenshot where it has, a play button from Vimeo or YouTube to make it look like they're clicking on a video that will play. And then just link that image to your video. So that's a, kind of neat way to still link to that video from your email in a way that works for your clients. So linking images is a great way to handle that. And we can go through and add a few more images here. While I'm doing this, you might notice that everything is kind of all in one line. I'm not doing columns. I did do some testing with columns earlier today, and just kind of setting up with a table in the email signature. It didn't quite work as I wanted it to, because on different email clients, they handled the table a different way. So if I were to actually insert from our formatting options here, insert a table, maybe if I wanted to get that picture and the text side by side, let's see if I can paste that in, yeah. I was going for more of a look like this. And although you can adjust the table inside of the editor in Dubsado, it wasn't always working on other email clients. Other email clients would put a lot more space between the image and the text. It would look, something more like this. And that again goes back to, you want to create a design that's going to be consistent from email client to make sure none of your clients are getting this surprise of, what is this email signature? So keeping it simple like this will help ensure that everyone is seeing the same thing. So I would not recommend using tables just to get columns. If you do want to, experiment more with a little bit more of a layout to your email signature, you might consider doing, let's delete this table here. You might consider actually doing some custom code. I'm not going to go over today how to write custom code to lay out an email signature. There actually are some email signature generators online that you can find that will help you generate an email signature with a little bit more structure to it if you want. But if you click on this code view icon and you get a code output from one of those generators, this is where you could paste it in and paste that in to see your signature. One thing you might notice is that you might see some outlines on elements when you do that. Send a test email to yourself. The outlines probably will not appear. The signature area tends to show outlines on tables even when the outline color is turned off or the borders are turned off. So send a test to make sure first. Okay, so here's our email signature. We have my profile image, we have name and title, we have some contact info. So again, you can really build this out however you would like, just to get it to be including the information that you want to share with your clients. It's a pretty simple thing. When you're done with your email signature, you can go ahead and click Save, and that will save the signature. Now, anytime you go to send a new email to a client manually, so let me just open up a sample project here. If I click Send Email from within the project, it's going to be preloaded with my email signature, which is so great. So I can just type my email up here and send it off. But if I go to choose a canned email, you'll notice the signature isn't there. So the canned emails by default, new ones you create won't necessarily have the signature in them if you've removed the smart field. So let's take a look at how to make sure the signature comes along in our canned emails as well. So back under templates and canned emails, let's open up that email template that we just tried to load in. And what we're missing here is the smart field for the email signature. So under smart field and then business, we can choose the email signature smart field, and that will insert it into our email. So if you want your canned emails to also show your signature, make sure that you have that smart field included as part of the text. So we'll save that. And now if I go back to my project here, and I choose that general inquiry response, now we have our email signature at the bottom. Okay, that's pretty much it on email signatures. It really just comes down to what do you want to include at the bottom of your emails. And of course, knowing where to put it in and knowing what options are available to you. A couple of tips here. So again, the email signature will then start appearing automatically on any new emails, but make sure you have the smart field in for any of those canned emails. The custom font faces, those cannot be imported into emails. So with your forms, you may be familiar with adding some CSS to bring in those font faces. That can't be done with our email signatures. So just choose from that default list or create an image of your text. If it's a special, very branded thing, you might just need to create an image and insert that instead. Again, keep it simple with the email signature, just to make sure everyone is seeing it the same way. That's going to be the safest way to go to prevent any mishaps with how your signature is displayed. And then definitely send a test email to yourself and check out the signature on desktop and mobile to make sure you're happy with how you've sized your images and placed the text. So here I have an example that I sent out earlier, and we can see my signature right here at the bottom. And I checked that out in my Gmail account and on my phone as well in the Gmail app, and it looked great in both. So if you have access to a couple different email clients, you can check it across a few of those. But if you keep it simple, you should be fine.